Chris Elder.
One of the great challenges we've got is anxiety. Raise your hand if you've had anxiety in the last 2 years. Anxiety is an amazing thing. In fact, when you talk to sales directors anywhere in the world, they say the number one thing that holds my people back is fear. Anxiety. They got to pick up the phone. They got to get back to flow conversations. They got to start connecting with more people. They got to start doing all the anxiety. Boom, and we start with this idea. It's amazing, by the way. Anxiety is an interesting thing. You know when you go to like Nordstrom's and maybe raise your hand if you ever tried clothes on in Nordstrom, and you get down to your sort of underwear and you can see yourself from like 9 different angles. Yeah. And there you are. In fact, just now, if I said to you, over there we've got a Nordstrom sort of mirror with like from 9 different angles, and we put you in and asked you to take all your clothes off, and we'll go into that mirror and actually just have a really good look. A lot of people in this room would probably have some sense of anxiety. Might be a few guys go, hey, how you doing? Most people are probably going to have some sense of anxiety, at which time it's interesting what happens. For some people, they might go, oh, I'm not happy with the way that body looks. I'm going to go to the gym, yes. And they go off. But most people, the reality is they go, I'm going to go drink wine. Because what happens for anxiety is it leads to the cannot be bothered. It's a good Australian saying, I can't be bothered, mate. I'd love to help you out, but I can't be bothered, mate. Can't be bothered. They can't be bothered. You look at that. You know what's interesting, too? How people go into the office to go to work. So many people, how do they walk in the door? When they walk in the door, they go, morning, morning. And they get to their desk, you know. And the first sign you're not ready for the day, by the way, and you got that anxiety, and you look at the list of people you're supposed to call, and you go, might actually read the paper first. People get anxiety, the first thing they do is they typically get the cannot be bothered. The problem with the cannot be bothered is then what happens is that, you remember that guy walks in and he goes, oh yeah, today's my birthday. Hey man, how's your morning? Yeah, good? Mine's great. 2 listings, 2 sales, I rock, man. And all of a sudden, guess what? You go, by the way, just for the record, nobody's really happy for you when you do that. I love those coffee conversations where you go, you know, where people are there and they're having a coffee in the morning sitting around. Very rarely when somebody's bragging about their success is the other person actually really genuinely happy for them. A lot of times what happens is they feel this, they feel guilty. And when people feel guilty, they don't actually get nicer. You would think guilty people get nicer, but they don't. Guilty people get snappish. They move into this negative state, which I call snappishness. It's a defensiveness. And I want you to notice that what happens when we feel guilty, we move into snappish. Instead, I've taken a good look at people. I've taken a good look at anxiety and what happens to people. And when people get this feeling of anxiety, to get to the gym, we say these words, I need to go, I need to go, I'm going to go. Boom, and once you go to the gym, and what happens is you take action, right? Hardest thing about getting to the gym is what? Getting to the gym. Once you get to the gym, you walk out and you have a sense of something. And this sense of something, I believe, is actually the driver for human behavior. And I'll say that again. This sense is actually the driver for human behavior. And it's this. When you walk out, you go, and you actually have a sense of relief. I think happiness is actually the byproduct of relief. At its pinnacle, by the way, people say all the time, I want financial security, I want money, I want financial freedom. At its pinnacle, what does financial freedom actually give you? At its pinnacle, financial freedom gives people what? A sense of relief. At its pinnacle, by the way, people say, I want relationship security, I want relationship security. At its pinnacle, what does relationship security actually give you? It gives you a sense of looking at that person and actually having the sense of, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. You watch people that have non-anxious presence. Let me ask you this, you ever worked in an organization that had an anxious leader? Show me an anxious leader, I'll show you an anxious sales team. Show me an anxious parent, I'll show you an anxious child. Show me an anxious partner in a relationship, I'll show you another anxious partner. Anxiety begats anxiety, and anxiety repels. I'll say that again, anxiety repels. The most important words you say all day are the words you say to yourself about yourself when you're alone by yourself. The most important words you say all day are the words you say to yourself about yourself when you're alone by yourself. And in those moments of non-anxious presence is when you're at your best.
Chris Elder.